Hey, all you mamas, whether this is your first time joining me here at the Energized Mama podcast, or you are an old viewer, favorite person who has to binge this podcast, I am just so excited that you're here. And I have to say, this is the beautiful start of something new. I'm going to start featuring episodes that have to do with creating a business of your dreams. It's actually something I have been wanting to do for a long time now, and I prayed over it and kind of stopped, dropped, and prayed and released it and let it go. And now you know how sometimes you're just desperately wanting and waiting for a prayer to be answered, and then there's other times where it's just like, wow, God is practically shouting at you. Even though he is a gentleman, God has been showing me time and time again that the time is now, because I have so many women in my life who, like me, they want to be at home with their kids. They want to have a successful career outside of their kids. And they're wondering, how the heck can I do this? Well, I went on a very unintentional journey in doing this myself during COVID, outside of my norms. I was living in Belgium, had just become a mom, and I knew that I wanted to stay at home and work and also be there for my children. I had dreams of homeschooling and dreams of bringing in finances for my family, but honestly, the even deeper part is I just knew I had something else inside of me, more than just being a mom and a wife. Those are my top two favorite roles in the entire world. I really believe they always will be. But I had this voice in my heart saying, you're meant for more. You have more inside of you. God is not done with you. And if you're here today and you're listening and saying, oh my gosh, Shai, that's so me, I really want to encourage you to stick around, because this episode is going to bless your face off, as are the other episodes that I start to feature here on the Energized Mama podcast. Because truly, what is an Energized Mama? To me, it's a mama who's fully living in her best self. It's a mom who is not held back by anything or anyone in her life, and who really goes and fulfills those dreams that God's placed on her heart. It's a mama who doesn't hide back, who doesn't live in fear, and who has the energy to get it all done. And sometimes our energy is just zapped because of fear. And also because of the unknown. And sometimes those go hand in hand, right? Sometimes you're fearful of the unknown, and sometimes things are unknown because you're stuck in fear. So today I'm going to speak to you on something that is probably a buzzword that maybe you've heard about if you're an aspiring mompreneur, or you're an old hat at it and you're still trying to figure out what the heck this word means or why is it important. Today, we're going to dive into niches and why this is truly going to unlock so many blessings in your life, just by going a little bit deeper and figuring out why this little N word, whether you say a niche or a niche, doesn't matter, but why it's so important for you to start here and lay this foundation in your business to see success beyond your wildest dreams. So go ahead, grab a pen and paper if you're old school, or open up that note section on your phone, mama, and let's dive in deep to what's a niche and why you should care. Let's go. Hey mama, welcome to the Energized Mama podcast, the podcast designed exclusively for moms navigating the challenging yet pivotal years of parenting children aged 5 and under. Are you longing to raise good, godly kids, all while preserving your own well-being and energy? Do you find yourself thinking, how can I keep up with my little ones, or how can I raise them to be loving and godly? I'm Cheyenne, and I've walked exactly in your shoes. Honestly, on some days, I'm still there. I know what it's like to face the daily demands of motherhood and wish for more energy to be the loving, godly mom I aspire to be. I've been there with a strong-willed toddler and a desire to balance being a devoted wife, a mom, a stepmom, and an entrepreneur. I'm here to tell you that it is possible to raise your children with strong values and boundless love, all while nurturing your own energy and well-being. In this podcast, you'll find valuable insights on managing your time and boosting your vitality. You'll gain practical tips for disciplining your children with grace and wisdom. And you'll join me in the journey of raising your kids to be good, godly individuals. My mission is to help you thrive as a mom while experiencing the joy of watching your children grow in faith and character. We'll explore how you can maintain your energy, because the most godly, loving mom is the one who takes care of herself too. So go ahead, mama, grab those headphones, pour yourself that refreshing green smoothie, and get ready to be #momspired, because rest assured, you're no longer alone on this incredible journey of motherhood. Now, I'm not sure if it's just the total nerd in me or because I am married to a teacher, but I decided to break this episode down and describing to you about a niche into the classic who, what, where, when, why, okay? Because that's just sometimes how my brain works, you know? I'm like, okay, it's great to know like what it is, but why should I care? Like, what is the actual meaning behind that, right? I mean, do you guys ever come to the Bible like that? Like, okay, that's great, Jesus. Like, thank you for, sharing, what this is about, but why? What's the deeper meaning? What actually is it all about, And sometimes I come to Jesus's parables about that and I'm like, okay, I get it, but what's the life application? Why does this matter, right? So when it comes to your business as well, you probably have heard some things out there that are important, right? You've probably heard what we're going to talk about today, your niche or your niche. You've probably heard things like branding is important in your marketing strategy and what social networks are you going to choose. All that's fine and great. But if you don't break it down to your niche, you're really going to be wasting a lot of time. And this is why, because first and foremost, let's start off this episode by defining a niche. Okay, what the heck is a niche? And my nerdy brain went to the Oxford Dictionary, which basically means I actually went to Google and I typed in literally like, what is a niche? Like if my ladies were not listening to this episode and they were to go try to figure this out on their own, what kind of answers would they get? And I love that actually the first definition for niche as a noun is a comfortable or suitable position in life or employment. I was like, amen. Can we like work to getting to that niche? Because that's not the one I'm talking about today. But I want you guys to remember that because at the end of the episode, I'm going to bring this back up. Okay. So a comfortable or suitable position in life or employment. But today, the niche that we're focusing on it's defined again as a specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. Okay. Or as an adjective, it would mean denoting products, services, or interests that appeal to a small specialized section of the population. So mamas, all those words, what does it mean? It's basically your who, right? It's your who. Who are you speaking to? Eventually it will be your what. Like what are you actually offering these people? That can be a whole nother niche in and of itself. But if you don't first focus on the who, it doesn't matter what you have, right? Because you can have, say, an online course, but if you don't actually target it to a certain people group, no one's going to find it or who's going to care because they are not going to feel seen and heard. And that's what people want. So that's what I want to break down. I want to remind you of today is that your who is your niche. Like basically, who are you talking to? And you can go about 7 layers deep here. It can be as simple as I'm talking to women. Okay. But women's not enough, right? You want to go even deeper. Okay. What kind of women? Let's just start with demographics. What age of women are you speaking to? Are your women moms? Are they not moms? What part of the world, what part of the country do your moms live in? Or women live in? And are they married? Are they unmarried? What kind of money do these women make? What kind of family income do they make? Are they stay-at-home moms? Are they not? If they work from home moms, do they work outside the home? These are all answers that you have to choose and you have to make. Now, and all of you out there that have that ostrich in the sand syndrome that you're just like, this is already too much. I don't want to make these decisions. What I say is keep it simple, but keep it focused. So again, you don't have to know how many dollars are in your dream niche's bank account right now, but the more specific you can go, the better you're really going to be able to speak to these women, the better everything else that comes after you choose a niche, like your content, like your services and your offers are going to be, because they're going to be so specific. I want you to imagine your niche as actually a person. Back when I first did a lot of branding work and figuring out who my niche was, I actually named my niche. I named her Rachel, and one of my best friends in the world, her name is Rachel, and I started imagining my Rachel was the woman that I was talking to. When I wrote down all the demographics, all the things that my Rachel or my person actually, what they did, how they spent their money, what did they do with their time, I could just see her. I could see her so distinctly, and that's who I would think of when I started to go about actually moving in my business. Now, this is a great segue to the next point that I have is, so now that you guys know what a niche or a niche is, why? What does it even matter? What does it matter that you choose all these things, right? Like, I mean, what does it matter if you name your dream niche and Rachel or I have to say a Monica or whatever? Because what happens is if you don't choose and you just go about with your passion and in your business and what it is that you feel you're meant to share with the world, and you just start talking to everyone, honestly, you're going to end up talking to no one. That's the unfortunate side, right? Is when you try to talk to everyone, you're actually going to talk to no one, because no one's really going to resonate with you, right? Because you're just kind of speaking to this person and then that person and hoping this lands and hope that lands over here. But remember that people want to be seen and they want to be heard. So if you speak to a very specific person, chances are that you are going to speak directly to their heart, more so than in another way than another person who's just trying to speak and be something for everyone out there, right? It's like you want people to really say, oh my gosh, she just reached into my soul. Like, she knows me and she sees me. And in this way, this is actually an analogy that my old acting coach used to say to me, is that you will do much better being a big fish in a small ocean. And he was talking to me about getting acting experience in Orlando before I moved to LA, because he's like, first you want to succeed in your small ocean and where you are first, and then when you're succeeding and doing well there, then you move to that big ocean. There's going to be more competition. So do yourself a favor, whatever field you want to go into, or if you're currently working in a business, niche down even more. Even if you've already niched, I'm going to encourage you that once you're done with this episode, or go ahead and pause it and choose one more thing that can be even more specific about your niche. I know that there's so many of us that worry about niching down so much. And how do I know that? Well, because I used to be that person. I used to fear and think, oh my goodness, if I speak to only this very specific person, I'm not going to be speaking to anyone. But then I realized, and I actually first saw this when it came to some of my analytics that I looked at. I would look at my podcast episodes, and this was back when I tried to basically speak to moms everywhere. And I realized that I wasn't getting a lot of viewership and I wasn't getting a lot of listeners. And when I started to test the waters and be more specific to a certain type of mom and a certain season of her life, I realized more people were getting value because more people were finding me and they knew what I was about. They knew that when they came to me in my podcast, this is exactly what they were gonna get. So that's why it's so important for you to have a niche, because, mama, if you're listening to this, chances are that you love Jesus and you want to pursue him and love people for him and allow him to use you. And when you speak to a smaller group of people, a very specific group of people that he's called you to, you're going to make such a bigger impact and difference than you ever could trying to speak to everyone into the masses, okay? And remember, you start small, you start here, and that doesn't mean that with that little bit of faith in that big message that God's put in you and in your heart, that you can't then effectively go affect more people as you grow your business. So the next question that may be on your mind, right? We've answered the who, the what, the why. Well, what about the when, right? When do you do this? Do you do this when you first start out? Do you do this when you've already started to build a business? My answer is now. The best time to start is now, no matter where you're at in your business. Even if you've been working in your business for 2-3 years at this point, you can always benefit from niching down even more, especially if your business is struggling. And by struggling, that is going to look different to everybody. But whether that's you're having less clients, you're having less followers, if you are making less of an income that you want, that is probably giving you an indication that it is your time now to niche down, okay? And if you want some insight and you want some help figuring out how the heck do I do that, well, I've got some really good news for you, because the last question I'm going to answer for you is the where, right? Who, what, where, when, why. Well, I switched it up. I put where at the end, right? How how do you find your niche, right? Like, where do you then build your brand, and how do you talk to your niche, and with what platform, and how do you figure this all out, right? I mean, it could be so overwhelming. Even when you choose a niche and you feel good about it, how do you answer the rest of these questions? Because niche really is one of the first steps. I like to look at it as a foundational step, or say a seed that you plant when you're trying to build this big, beautiful tree, right? You got to keep watering it and making sure that these roots are strong before your branches start to grow, okay? We want to make sure that you're pruned and that you're ready to go so that your tree, your business can flourish. Well, I basically say don't do it alone. Don't mom alone and don't business alone. And if you got the two of those together, you're a mompreneur. I don't care if you're making $0 or you're making $1,000 every week in your business. Just don't do it alone. And if you want someone to help grow your business, especially start your business, this is where I am so happy to let you know I am starting a whole new adventure here on my podcast. I would love for you to message me and chat, because I'm beginning my adventure of professionally beginning to give advice to moms who are just straight up honestly overwhelmed, and they want to start a business. They have this desire on their heart. They feel God, tugging at their heartstrings. They feel this passion rising up inside of them, but they really just have no idea where to start. And I know if you're a mom, especially of littles, which is totally who my podcast serves and has served for many years now, I know that you also have very limited time. And so I've been able to build a business while having two littles at home, while immigrating, and it's just been the most rewarding experience of my life, and I love it. And I want to pass that on now to other moms who want to get started, who want to know, how do I get started well, and how do I get started intentionally? So now that I've been doing it behind the scenes, I've been helping a lot of moms through different voice message and chats and text messages and stuff. And now I'm going to do it on a more professional level. I'm ready now to take you to the next level, and to show you how God has grown me to the next level and how he can do so with you too. So I'm just starting to take my first coaching calls, and I'm starting off with doing some market research. So if you truly are a mom, especially a mom who's all about Jesus, who loves Jesus, who wants to honor God with her heart and with her business, and you are looking for some help, you're looking for some sense of direction, I'm going to put my work calendar right here in the show notes below, and I would love to chat with you. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to get to know your heart, and I'd love to hear about your kids. And then ultimately, of course, you're going to be helping me, but I'm looking forward to helping you, because at the end of our chat, I'll definitely be able to point you into the right direction. We can help figure out your niche together, and we can watch this beautiful thing grow for you, out of you, and for you, because it's for your family, right? I really do believe that we're not meant to just grow up, graduate school, get a job, work, and die. I really believe we're so meant to do so much more than that. There's a reason why God has put those God-designed, driven passions and talents inside of you, and now it's time to use them. And I'm here to make sure that you don't stay stuck in the sand, that you own your niche, and we get you started right. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for your hearts. If this episode blessed you, please share it around. Let more moms know what the heck is a niche. What does it matter? What is it all about? And of course, if you have any other mamas who want to grow alongside you with a community who's going to support them, send them my way. Hit that link below to book an appointment with me, and just know that I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Energized Mama podcast.